Nice. We're here, man. We're up and we're running.
Yeah.
Guys, it's been what, since August since we got together or something like that last?
Yeah, I think that was the last of like the character stuff was in August.
Yeah, I know, and we've gotten some pretty good feedback actually from people watching the sort of reposts on YouTube, kind of getting up to speed with the story. Some of them might be joining us here tonight. We don't know, but we are in fact live, and we're here to play some Kult Divinity Lost. It's a horror RPG by Helmghast. Runs on the Fueled by the Apocalypse engine. The rules are very different to any that we've played with before, and we've actually got a newbie in the form of Steve, who's playing Randall Michelson. We'll get to that in a second. Unfortunately, Nancy is not going to be able to join us, so rather than having her character die a horrific death, we just put a little symbol up there, and we'll figure things out as we go forward. But let's make our rounds and say hello. What's been going on, Mike, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Been taking a small break from the Slightly Salted Squad channel for the holidays, so I've had a little bit more free time to flex my creative muscles, work a little bit on my voice acting, maybe resubmit for Dad of the Year, that kind of stuff.
Dude, you guys had a really successful fundraiser though with the Slightly Salted Squad, right? That was a pretty solid.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So every year we participate in the Extra Life charity event, and what that is the Children's Miracle Network hospitals all over the country get together and raise money for sick kids. And so maybe this is like paying for supplies for parents that need to stay overnight with their children, and just kind of little things, meals and things like that. The local branch here in Orlando is the Arnold Palmer Children's Hospital, which my daughter was born right next door, so it's a little close to home. We had set a goal of $2,500 to raise for charity. We reached a little over 3,000.
Hell yeah.
Which is a huge success. It was more than double what we did last year. So it's pretty cool. Awesome. We did a 24-hour charity stream where we just played video games for 24 hours. I waxed my chest. We ate that one chip challenge thing. It was a nightmare.
If only you were waxing your chest while doing the one chip challenge. Do it all at once.
Well, it was the other way around. My chest was still burning when my face was burning. It just actually, it probably would have worked better the other way because I couldn't feel anything aside from my head on fire.
Dude, tell us about your green screen beard, because that was pretty epic. Yeah. That was
right. So last year, during our charity event, I made the unfortunate mistake of saying that for $50, a $50 donation, I would shave my beard. And so one very generous smartass that we work with decided to donate $100. And so last year I shaved my beard literally the day before family Christmas photos. For those of you guys who don't know, this is actually the only thing distinguishing me as an adult. Without it, I look like a small child.
Kind of a big child, but okay, go ahead. I'm with it.
Yes, right. Okay, a big child.
Big baby.
My wife was livid. She was so livid. So this year coming around, she's like, I don't care what you guys do. I don't care how much money it is. Do not shave your beard. It was a very, very strict rule. And so instead, I opted to dye my beard blue after we hit something like $500 in donations, which we hit the night before the stream started, of course. So I went out and I dyed my beard like Beach Boy blonde, and then very, very blue on top of that. Though I think, my green screen, though, recognized it more as a green than a squad blue. And so as I was playing at 4 a.m.
it edited out your bottom jaw.
My whole yes, I looked like an undead from World of Warcraft. Like there was nothing here. It was just like space and then my teeth. It was hilarious.
That's pretty awesome, man.
It was a good time.
Well, yeah. we are glad you're here, man, and glad you stuck it out for all this time waiting to kick off the campaign. Steve, what's been up with you, man? I see your icon in Roll20 as one of your latest pieces of fantastic artwork. What have you been up to?
Yeah. I've been working a lot. I've been doing a lot of art. I got back into tattooing about 4 months ago. So I'm working back at a shop there on weekends. Doing a lot of things, man. It's the holidays, trying to stay busy, trying not to practice too hard for this role, with my addictions and everything,
Yeah, we're glad you weren't shooting up heroin and doing meth and snorting coke all at the same time, because you don't want to
Not in that
channel
order.
Randall too much. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad you're here, man. And again, this is for those of you watching or now or later. This is actually Steve's first RPG, and he killed it on the character creation. Like people were eerily just sort of drawn into the story. So thanks for that.
Me too. I set my own bar higher than I wanted. That's great.
That's amazing. Did somebody just join?
It's a second CJ.
Second CJ.
It's a second CJ.
That's weird.
This is exciting.
Are you switching around? What was that about? We lost.
Possession, I think.
I think we lost CJ's video. We'll give him a minute here. Hey, CJ.
Hello.
We lost your video, man.
Yeah, I just switched over to the phone because the internet here is horrible.
Okay. Well, that works. We can hear you. So I wish I had a still photo, like a really embarrassing still photo of CJ. So we'll go with that. So what did you? We were just getting to you, man. So what have you been up to?
Not much that I want to talk about.
Well, that's fun. You've been traveling to Miami, I hear. That's fun.
Yeah. Been doing a lot of work. Sorry, one sec. There we go.
Well, I am happy to be able to divert your attention from work and other things. I have been also working, as rumor has it. That's caused me to actually. Now here comes your.
There we go. I'm back now.
Okay, let me fix the overlay. So when we when you have multiple folks join like that, what did you? I might leave you like this. It's like this weird Windows 8 tile thing going on for your video.
For me?
Jeez.
I gotta fix
because you
it.
have two windows.
I'm gonna stream the corrections here of wait. Don't change anything, CJ. Oh wait, that's better. All right. Don't move.
Change only that.
I got you. This happened to us on the Warhammer stream that we have going on, because we're using Zoom and the way that all works, and we've got these sort of multiple windows. Anytime anyone would join or drop or whatever, it would fuck up the order of the characters, and so heads are just bouncing everywhere. You never knew who was who. All right, I think we've got it all sorted out. No one's gonna drop, no one's gonna join. Nancy cannot be with us tonight. She is being a good mom as always, and we are going to open up a recruitment opportunity for anyone who would like to come in and play Angela Chase. So those of you out there watching on the internet, those of you checking this out on YouTube, on your drive to work, please message us, because we need an Angela Chase, at least by next episode. You guys ready to play some Kult?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Actually, the one thing I want to say, Mike, give us an example of your voice acting talent. Give us just a little sample of Frank Quinn, and just give me a little soundbite and say the Kult Divinity Lost beneath these streets. Give it to us.
Kult Divinity Lost beneath these streets.
All right, let's do this. So, for those of you who want to catch up on the campaign setup, please check out the YouTube /Myth Brigade channel. You will find all of the character profiles and all that good stuff there. But today we find all of you in the early morning hours of Friday, September 16th, 1983, in the neighborhood of Greater Grand Crossing, which is in Chicago, Illinois. The world's a much different place. It's Ronald Reagan's United States. It's a cocaine-crazed state of business suits and competing superpowers. The country's in the midst of continued conflict with Lebanon, and in but days will mount an invasion of Grenada. A horrific hurricane, Alicia, in fact, has just ravaged Texas, killing 21 people and causing billions of dollars of damage. IBM just released the PC XT, its latest take on the personal computer. It'll never really catch on, I don't think. Space Shuttle Challenger has made its maiden voyage, carrying brave souls and even a woman into space. Movies like Star Wars Return of the Jedi and Flashdance are breaking box office records. MTV is hypnotizing the country's impressionable youth with videos for songs like Little Red Corvette, Beat It, Hee, and Down Under. Radio is still a thing. DJs even. Everything literally, though, is colored by the looming threat, mutually assured destruction, as the US and Russia sit mired, worlds apart, in a Cold War. But these things, as pervasive as they are, they mean nothing to you. This is because you don't live in that world. You live beneath it, in the shadowy, trash-strewn stench of the viaducts beneath Chicago's major roadways and train routes. You are the city's forgotten, its failures, and its shame. You are Frank Quinn, a former police detective desperately seeking answers to the brutal murder of his family, a murder for which you, Frank, are currently the primary suspect. This place, this horrific place, was your only hope of avoiding confinement, a cold, piss-soaked base of operations from which to mount a hopeless search to recover your honor and avenge your family's death. Randall Michelson, a combination of incomprehensible memories from your past and a toxic mix of street drugs have left you splintered, unsound, and broken. The whispering of troubled spirits is relentless, and you are ever watched by the fleeting, mist-like silhouette of your past. You are here awaiting an end to the misery, a self-medicated calm in the storm of torment and madness that plagues your every waking moment. You'd hoped the past would not have followed you here. You were very wrong. And Father Constantine Bianchi, the struggle between good and evil is eternal, and the Almighty's foot soldiers are all that stands between a life in His grace and the agony of eternal damnation. You were once such a brave soul, a fearless believer willing to face hell itself for your God. And they turn their back on you. You now watch your flock from a window across the way, this disease depraved lot living under a city bridge, and you in your roach-infested apartment. Saving their souls from oblivion may well be your ticket to redemption, but one thing is very certain. It's a rainy night in Chicago, and the spatter of the last hour's downpour, still kind of draining off of the bridge, echoes through the viaduct. The smell of smoldering trash fires still clings in the air as the flickering orange glow of a nearby emergency light casts shadows all around you. The wind moans against the concrete, broken only occasionally by a car speeding beneath the overpass, typically at this hour, trucks. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of 2:30 in the morning, best you can tell. My question for you is, where do we find Frank Quinn? What would he be up to at this hour?
At this hour, it's awful cold in the streets of Chicago, underneath the overpass. Wind sweeping underneath the bridge as the cars pass overhead, specifically these big trucks. For Frank, though, he sleeps very, very little. His mind constantly trying to put together the pieces of the puzzle that is the murder of his family, and trying to figure out how do all these tiny little clues that he's got scrawled down in his notebook piece together. So at 2:30 in the morning, he's tucked up alongside of a dumpster somewhere, collar of his coat pulled up high, flipping through the pages of his notebook, chewing on the end of a nub of a pencil, trying to read through what he's written with the glow of the street signs nearby.
The most recent memory you have, as you'll recall, would be the disappearance of one of your actual friends among this sort of depressing lot. His name was A-Bomb, and he was kidnapped by some strangers in a van. And of course, there was the murder of your other friend, Ozzy. Those kinds of things happen in the mean streets of Chicago, but this situation left you rattled because it could just as well have been you. Randall, where are you at 2:30 in the morning?
I would say I'm probably pretty close to Frank. I mean, that's...
What state are you in?
It's fucking wasted, man. It's early. You know, it's late. I haven't gone to sleep yet.
And what drugs have you been on? Cocaine is a rich man's drug. You might score a little here and there, but what tell me, what kind of high are you right now?
Honestly, man, anything I can get a hold of, but lately it's been a lot of mixes of speed, you know, basic amphetamine. It's easy to cook, easy to extract. You know the deal. It's pretty new, but it's real cheap, man. You know, it's...
So you're twitching,
it's
right?
like gasoline.
You're seated there, kind of off, a little ways away from Frank, because you know you get the impression he doesn't love it when you get torn up like that. But the memories of your past, the only time that they really get quiet is when you're completely inebriated one way or another.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, I was gonna say I don't mind the physical effects. It shuts my brain off. I don't mind, you know, clenching my jaw and, you know, rubbing my teeth together. I really don't mind.
You're there watching these shadows, and it's almost as if you can see this sort of zapping of the light, and you... Somebody's watching me, just kind of playing just on a weird loop in your head.
Yeah.
Constantine Bianchi. So you were across the street from the viaduct, as you have been for some time. You live in the apartment building above a small corner store, which is robbed with some great frequency. So far, no one's been murdered, but where would you be at this hour? Sleeping?
I'm out on the street.
You're out on the street?
Yeah, looking for the demons.
So what do you do when you leave your apartment and you're wandering the streets? It's dangerous out here. So how do you approach that, and how far do you wander from home? Are you just out and among this rabble? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, my lord will protect me no matter where I travel.
So you're there with your you're one of the few lucky enough, even though it's just a tattered coat at best. You've got your old wool coat from the priesthood, dress coat almost, right? But at least it keeps you warm. At night, around this time of year in Chicago, it gets down in the 60s or so. The cold is coming for sure, but there's that damp, windy thing that happens in Chicago that still cuts you to the bone, as Frank just said. So you're nearby, but you're not down in the viaduct itself. You're kind of across the street near your apartment building, just sort of watching from afar, maybe smoking. Because during the 80s, everyone did. Even I did. I was a kid. As you're there, Frank, you probably hear it most immediately. There's a shrill shriek of tires cutting a corner entirely too fast, and this deep rumble of a souped-up engine pushing the vehicle forward, headed the general direction of the viaduct. This doesn't sound like typical traffic. How would you respond to that kind of noise?
My years in the force have taught me to be keen and sharp to recognizing things that are out of the ordinary and maybe a little dangerous. So I hear the tires screech and my ears perk up immediately, and I hear the guy gunning the engine. And my first thought is that it's likely somebody doped up or a little drunk, having a good time at this hour, leaving the bar, about to make some reckless decisions. Do I hear anything else that may lead me to believe that it's something other than somebody drunk or stupid?
Let's have an observe a situation roll. So the way the die rolls work here, you can use the button on your character sheet, which is the easiest way to go. Or you roll 2d10. It's not a d100, right? So it's just 2d10. You add them together, and then you add the attribute, which in this case is perception. But if you use the die roller, it comes out in the
I rolled a 6.
6. Yeah, so you get to... Jesus. What are you using, binoculars or like, that's a fantastic...
He's got one of those big, ridiculous, like listening devices.
We'll get to Constantine in a second, and for Randall, you're too high, man. You're not going to be on top of this. So you
right, I know I can handle it.
So the way this works basically is depending on how you roll, the success varies, right? So what was yours? Was a 6. So correct. You get to ask a question, but you get no bonus for it. And you miss something, or maybe you attract unwanted attention or expose yourself as you're trying to make your observation. So types of questions you can ask really are the kind of sky's the limit, but some examples might be, what's the best way to get out of this situation? What kind of vehicle is it? Those kind of detailed questions. What's your question, Frank? What are you specifically kind of curious about as you peer around the dumpster?
Does the driver seem to be driving with a purpose? And what I mean by that is, does it sound like a straight shot, heavy on the engine, or does it sound like swerving and tires kind of eking as he's trying to find the right lane, kind of a thing?
No, and that's a great question. Actually, it is definitely with great purpose, but ignoring traffic laws for sure. So there's sort of this squeal of brakes at a stop sign, followed by immediate rev of the engine and a tight turn. It's kind of what you pick up with your roll. Constantine, you're on the corner, and so represented by your 21. For one, you get to ask 2 questions, but I'll tell you what you see because you are on the corner. You see a van that you weren't there to see before, because you're not always under the underpass, right? You actually go to soup kitchens and get food every once in a while and whatnot. Chase around demons in the parks and that sort of thing. You see a van. It's a white van. And it's sort of dingy. It's a sort of 80s blocky van with a sort of Dodge Ram kind of emblem on the front of it, and it's just hauling ass around the corner. Slams on the brakes and kind of comes to a squeaking stop real quick in front of you. What 2 things would you like to observe about this van? What 2 things are you looking for?
Can I see the driver?
You can. The first thing that you notice about the driver, particularly with that roll of 21, is he's unseemly. So this van itself looks like a company van. In fact, it says Pearson Chemical Company on the side of it. Normal letters. There's no phone number. The driver, though, looks a bit rough. He's an African American descent, but he's got very stubble, kind of rough clothing. He's not wearing any kind of you think to be work clothes. Smoking a cigarette, and you hear some music as well. Thumping sound. You don't know the song. What's your second question?
Do I detect any demonic activity?
You tell me. Do you detect any demonic activity? I'll leave that one up to you. What do you? It is a van.
What type of music?
And in the 80s, not all vans like this included perverts. So just to say, some of them were used for legitimate purposes. You don't know the type of music. But you know what? I'll give that to you. That'll be your second question. It's actually Duran Duran's "Hungry Like the Wolf." This sort of "hungry like the wolf." Hungry.
Truly demonic.
And just as you catch what's being said, the driver turns and looks at you. He's wearing dark glasses at night. No pun intended, but he is. And the van lurches forward and then screeches to a halt right where the viaduct is there, within plain sight. And actually, I'll send you the Google Street View of it after we're done here. It's pretty cool. What do, Constantine? You just kind of let it go, and you stay where you're at?
Today is a good day for an exorcism. Good sir.
You head across the street. Okay. So you start rambling across the street. you're kind of making your way there. But right about this time, Frank and Randall, generally speaking, vehicles don't come up at this angle, right? This van just kind of swipes around like it's trying to make a U-turn and go back the other way, but stops with its side door facing into the viaduct. The side door flies open, and there are two men in there. It seems like they're moving something around, but you don't know what it is. What do you do?
So, how far am I from this? So, it's my understanding he kind of goes in around the corner. What does my line of sight kind of look like?
Sure. So if you're looking directly at this course, you've got two lanes of traffic, right? Going, typical American traffic directions. And there are spaces in between the viaduct above you in this particular area as the L train, right? So there's, where the elevated train goes. And so basically it looks like he's making a U-turn to go back the other direction, but he's kind of come sideways. So you've got basically this van almost blocking two lanes of traffic with the door wide open, and the dome light is kind of flickering, as dome lights will do in the 80s. Distance.
And I'm on the far side of the van, so I'm looking at the broad side, or am I looking at the side of the door?
Yes, you are looking at the broad side. Yeah, exactly right. You would be looking actually into the door as he's come around. Does that make sense?
Yes. So I'm on the broad side, but I'm on the side that the door was opened. He's pulling something out, but I can't see what it is.
You cannot see what it is. It's roughly man-sized.
Okay. My police training has taught me to assess the situation to the best of my ability. But these old bones are creaky and it's cold out, so I'm not moving quite as fast as I would if I had a hot meal in my stomach. So I kind of lift myself off of the ground, and I'm just sort of observing from a distance and trying to make note of as much of the situation as I can. I note the number of people that have come out of the van, and I'm particularly interested in the fact that there's a body size object that they're pulling out of the van here.
Okay. So you're going to do that. So you slip up next to the big kind of girders that basically serve as the base of this viaduct, where you can kind of see a little more clearly. They're acting quickly, and they're clearly not worried as to whether or not they cause harm to this thing that's in the bag. It looks like a giant mail sack, right? Like a kind of a duck cloth sack. Randall, what do you do? So this screeching of the tire really just causes you in your tweaking state. It sets you on edge. And when you see Frank stand, because he's not far from you, really causes problems. What do you do, man?
Normally if Frank stands, it's a sign to get the fuck out of the way, right? Holy hell. I'd like to ask Frank what's, because from my vantage point, I can't see it. I'm behind the dumpster still, right?
You in fact, yeah, you are. So he calls out to you, and you guys. So and this is all first person. So what do you say to Frank?
Frank, what's going on, man? What do you see?
I look over in your general direction, Randall, and I deliberately don't speak because I'm trying not to draw the attention of the men in the van, and you may not quite be aware of that. But I sort of put up my hand in a stern way that just like almost sit back down, waving you down, sort of duck back down underneath that. And as soon as I see that you've recognized the message, my eyes go back to the van to continue watching what's happening.
Give me just to determine your own actions, Randall. Give me a read a person roll. So what you're going to do, that's basically under your intuition. So you could roll plus intuition.
Because I actually have how this works, because I know one of my advantages is Sixth Sense.
Yeah, there you go.
And through Soul, that's my ability to sense danger and my right path. So it may look like I'm sort of deferring to Frank for what to do, but in reality, I'm sort of running my own little what the hell's going on. So you want me to roll?
No, that's fair. No, that's fair. That works. So you're looking for him for validation, right? Something in your gut tells you that there's something going on there. So
my guard dog just went off.
Do you stay low? Do you try to change your vantage point?
I am not the type to engage in combat, but I am the type to observe and tap as necessary, if it makes any sense. So I'd like to stay on the sideline, but I think I'd like to roll the read a person thing. I'd like to use some of that.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. So give it a roll. Let's see what you think about what's going on.
I'm gonna hit buttons. Hey, cool.
Wow, that's solid. So you get
I know
to
his
ask.
name.
So basically, reading a person allows you to use your intuition to sort out kind of what's going on. Generally, it's through conversation. You're trying to read Frank, or are you trying to read the situation? I'll let you do either.
I want to read the situation.
Okay, so ask me 2 questions.
I want to know, are we in immediate danger?
You feel so, yes. You think so. So the one thing that you pick up on, one of the persons is doing the majority of the hauling of whatever is in the bag, and the other person, though he was helping, is now standing almost on guard. You don't notice any weapon, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have one. What's your second question?
Is the bag moving on its own?
Not clearly, although it's very hard to tell because it's being drug. I mean, this is all kind of happening pretty quickly. What do you do with that information?
What do I do?
Do you remain? Do you stay kind of sort of waiting?
Yeah.
Or do you, okay.
Yeah, I stay waiting.
Right about this time, there's a shadow that you see flickering beneath the van from you. Footsteps seems to be coming from the corner across the street. You can't make out anything about footsteps, right? Just this kind of little lines that are sort of undulating in the light. That Constantine would be you. So you're walking up on the broad side of the van where there's no door. On the back sort of hind quarter, there's a sort of dome-like creeper van kind of window. And there's some various stickers indicating permits and things. What do you do as you approach?
And I see the movement, but then the van, or I don't see the movement yet.
So the one thing you would notice that the van is in fact kind of moving a bit. This brings to mind that maybe there was, it's a little less sinister, and maybe there's some teenagers in there or something. It's kind of rocking. It's about the best. You can now hear the song, and it's well into Hungry Like the Wolf.
I will come around the van, proclaiming, "Denounce your animalistic ways, for Satan has hold of you. Come, calm yourself."
So you guys would hear this. You see this. You know the priest, right? You all know the priest. You know he means well, and in general, you also know he's batshit crazy. You round the corner and say that just as this. It is a mail bag, right? But it's a very large, like for mail and parcels, duck cloth bag. It's stained dark. Just kind of rolls out with a thud onto the concrete. Right there where traffic could very well roll over it. You turn around and you hold up your cross and start your sermon. At which point, the one guy who's just pushed the body out kind of looks up. "Who the fuck do you think you are, man? Get the fuck out of here." He steps down out of the van and kind of, bristles his muscles at you. Cracks his neck. "You want problems?" What do you do?
The only problem here, my child, is the demon within you. Calm yourself. I will use my charismatic aura.
give me that influence other roll. Why not? Jesus, nice. Okay. So basically, basically says that the target does what you ask, but I get to choose one thing. So I love the structure of this game. It kind of holds me accountable for what happens. So I'm going to choose that complications are going to arise at a later time. That's one of my options. So just keep in mind that I said that because I will forget once the alcohol kicks in. So he kind of steps in. Constantine nose to nose with you. This is very uncomfortable because he's a good 3 or 4 inches taller, and he lets his chest kind of push you backwards. "I don't need no salvation, priest. Why don't you go along and play with the fucking vermin?" You hear the other guy say, "Come on, man, we gotta go. We gotta go. The job's done. Let's go." He turns. "Give me, please, Mr. Constantine, and observe the situation roll, because you are very close. Give yourself a +1 as well. Because you are right there." Okay. you notice he seems to have been injured, maybe, on the back of his neck. He turns away from you, though. Do you persist as he's being called back to the van? The one thing that you pick up is the one guy's the driver seems to be African American. These two guys are just kind of burly, just trashy white guys. You know, big muscles, thug types. Look like they've probably been running the streets since they were kids. What do you do? Do you let him go?
Clearly, he's injured and he needs salvation. I will put my arm on the back of his shoulder.
Okay.
Done.
You put your arm on his shoulder and squeeze and basically explain to him that you're going to provide salvation. So you sense that he's going to turn on you for sure. He tightens his muscles and you sense it's coming. What are you going to do? You going to try to avoid, or are you going to try to fight him down?
Avoid.
Why?
I'm not a fighter.
You're not the tank of the group, right? We don't have that in Cult, thankfully.
No, I have a -2 in engage in combat.
Oh man.
Got a +4 to shit talker.
Yeah. I see through the shit.
Woo. So give me an avoid harm roll, please. Wow. He turns around just as he kind of, his muscles tighten and he turns around, you mother, and he just tries to deck you, and you quickly evade his strike, and he just whiffs just right past your head. What do you do in this moment?
I say a quick prayer. God has protected me. Son, you need healing.
You say that, and just as you say it, almost as if you feel God's touch, because the guy standing behind him grabs his companion by the back of his leather kind of, shitty leather jacket and just drags him back toward the van. I said, come on, we gotta go. Leave him. He kind of straightens out his jacket and backs into the van. What do you do? You let him back away, the engine revving.
Do I notice anything peculiar about the large package?
You do.
In front of us? You
look down at the package, and what you realize is that it is absolutely 100% got a body in it. Just the shape of it, there's no doubt about it. And there are spots of kind of brownish red here and there.
Oh, man.
He steps in the van as you're looking at this and you're kind of letting this soak in. Yeah, you let that be a lesson to you, father. And he spits at your feet as he steps back into the van. And before he's even seated, he's hanging onto the inside of the van. The driver just revs the engine and squeals away. Frank, what are you doing? About now, sort of you're kind of observing. This happens so fast. What do you do?
So as I'm watching the preacher go over, I recognize the guy. I know he's a bit aloof, and he's about to get himself into a lot of trouble. And so as I see this sort of altercation start to happen, my gut is telling me to reach out and to call him over, come up with an excuse, get him out of there. But I don't. I sort of watch it play out, and he obviously ends up unscathed. And so as the man jumps into the van, and the van starts to drive away, I'm watching it until the taillights are around the corner. And at that point, I go to check out what's in this bag here.
He does. He turns and he goes southbound. South Chicago is a really awful, awful place. Even for folks like you. You see the taillights kind of dimming as they get further away. The priest sort of at this point standing there over this bag. Randall, what are you doing? You see kind of Frank step out from his vantage point and is sort of watching this vehicle drive away.
I'm fairly confident the situation's over. I have a terrible curiosity. I want to go see what's going on.
Okay.
I absolutely am. And I'm the scurry around the side. You know, I mean, my high's gone, man. You know, they already blew it out of the water. You know, my adrenaline kicked in. It overrode everything. I'm not clear-headed, stumble a bit, but I still really want to see.
Yeah. So you stumble out. There are a couple of the other denizens of the viaduct that basically are doing the same thing, coming out from under their piles of of shredded newspaper and things. What do you do as you approach? So Constantine, you're there. You sense that there are folks closing in to the scene as happens. It happened that way with Ozzy when he got shot in the face. What do you do? You're looking at this roughly man-sized sack drawn closed at the top.
I'll hold my hands out.
You wave
Be
them.
Careful. Be careful.
He turned you, so you're turning and facing them.
Yes.
Okay.
Be wary. There's death here. The soul has to be saved.
What do you do, Frank, as you're approaching Randall at your side?
So yeah, right. So as I begin, I'm watching the car go around the corner, and as it does, my eyes are on the body, or the body-shaped figure. And so as I'm probably 4 or 5 strides in, I do a quick glance over my shoulder just to see where Randall is. Not looking over him or anything, but just trying to get my awareness. Where is this guy? I note that he's following me 5-10 steps behind me or whatever, and I continue.
What does
and
he
as
see?
I get closer
Randall,
and
real
closer,
quick, what does he see, Randall, when he looks over his shoulder? How, what's it like? Are you just kind of rolling up, or are you tweaking? Like, what's your deal?
It's not a confident walk because I know I'm in my element. I really don't know what to expect. I'm not dressed anywhere near even as good as he is, and he's not dressed fine at all. I tend to, I just say it like I see it, man. You know that.
Yeah, so you're walking on his side. You see him glance back at you. So Frank, back to you. So you approach him. Constantine's there, waving you away, explaining like there's death here. Like, what do you do?
I mean, my years in the police force have taught me how to handle the situation time and time again. I can do it in my sleep, and so as I approach, I've seen what's happened, and I give a half-hearted, calming word to the preacher man here without even making eye contact with him. I say, "Are you okay, preacher? Are you okay, father?" But as I'm doing that, I'm already on to the next thing, and I take a knee, and without touching the body at all, or the body-shaped bag, I begin to observe the bag, looking for just my checklist of detective clues and see what I can assess.
Give me an observe the situation roll.
Sure.
Assessing.
$17.
So I'm going to give you a bonus question for this one. So the first thing that you notice, now that you're down here, that there is a slight amount of movement. But what are the questions that you would like to? What are you trying to kind of look for? There were stains; those were fairly evident. Brown and reddish, kind of ruddy brown, probably blood.
So I recognize very quickly that there's what I assume could be blood stains or the like. I'm looking for any sort of identifying markings. Is there a brand or a patch or anything on the bag itself that might give me some information about where it came from?
Absolutely. So there is an Acme Laundry Company logo sort of stamped into the bag. It looks pretty well worn. You don't know an Acme Laundry Company, but there's probably one somewhere in Chicago.
I think Wile E. Coyote used it.
You're absolutely right. What else do you look for? So the bag itself has got kind of a rope tie at the top, meant to hold large amount. So
you mentioned that I noticed some movement, right? So the first thing I'm looking at is any sort of identifying marks. The next thing is a little bit more in the shape of it, right? So I'm looking for movement. Does the movement look rhythmic in any way? Sort of. I'm trying to identify, is there any sort of breathing happening here? Maybe a cough or anything like that?
Yeah. So you kind of lean back just for a moment as you're kind of looking at the bag and just assessing the danger situation. And it's not exactly rhythmic, but it is definitely intentful, if that's a word. There's someone in there for sure. You notice what would appear to be maybe an elbow. You're not sure how the person would be in there, maybe sort of like this, but there's a hairy elbow and it's dirty. What do you do?
Okay. So I noticed the movement of the bag. There's somebody. I've ascertained that there's somebody in here. And so the first thing I do is I reach for the knot and begin to try to untie the rope at the top of the bag.
Constantine, you see this, and the movement is not lost on you either. You notice what you notice is more toward the bottom of the bag, probably where the legs are, and it's a very slow, kind of painful movement. What do? You see him kind of untying the top of the bag.
Is there any way to sense anything through illusion or enhanced awareness or anything to detect anything demonic within the bag before he lets the demon out?
You don't feel sad. You feel troubled for this soul. Someone has clearly hurt this person. You think
clearly they need help.
Yeah, you don't think there are many demons nearby. They're
Then
all at the store.
Will definitely, yeah. I will try to assist Frank.
Okay, so Constantine kind of leans down and helps to untie and kind of widening the bag as the knot is undone. And Randall, what are you doing during this time? You kind of notice there are a couple of other tweakers and folks, from here under the viaduct that are standing around.
And I'm going to stand up and I'm going to tell him to get lost.
You stand up, you turn, and there's this guy named Huggy.
My people.
It's Huggy, man. It's, yo, Randall, we don't need to get mixed up in this shit, man. You remember what happened last time, what they did to Ozzy? Shit, man.
I know, brother. I know, but take a walk. Take a walk. You don't need to witness this. You need
to walk the fuck away too, Randall. You high.
I know I do. I know. This is my corner. Go.
He grabs grabs you by your coat and brings you in. He goes, man, we like brothers. They ain't one of us. You know this as well as I do. They ain't one of us. They gonna get us killed. He lets you go and straightens out your shirt for you. They gonna get you killed. Thumbs his nose and walks away. Right about that time, you pop the bag open. The head of a very familiar, although incredibly deformed face, deformed from beating. It's A-bomb. The side of his face is almost unrecognizable from having been beaten. It just clearly, with a bat or something of that nature. His eyes kind of try to focus on you, and you can even see his attempts to focus, and he just doesn't even recognize you. What do you do? Constantine, you don't know him by name, but Frank, you definitely do, and Randall, you certainly do.
I immediately start to think back to my training and trying to run through any sort of first aid or medical treatment that I can think of, and it's all coming up dry. I'm trying to calm him with my hands as I'm looking around for anything that's not just absolutely covered in filth to try to help clean this guy up.
So Randall, I'm sorry, not Randall, Constantine. So again, you have a complete pile of shit apartment nearby, but is it possible that maybe you have some supplies in your apartment?
Yeah, I have some half clean rags, and the water's decent coming out of the tap. So and I got some half empty bottles of alcohol that could help clean.
Nice. And by that you mean vodka, right?
Yes.
Okay. So do you
want to know who did this?
Yeah. He rolls
let's
around
bring him.
as you're trying, and he suggests these supplies and things. He kind of looks up at you, and it's like he recognizes you in that moment. Frank? Oh. Hey. The tears are bloody, and there's blood kind of coming from his tear duct. It's like ruptured blood vessels and things from the beating. And he squeezes you so tight, it's like he doesn't want to let go, as if maybe he's going to be taken back to that place. You rush him back across the street. You've never been in Constantine's apartment. And why don't you tell these guys what's it like in there, man? So it's You take these shitty stairs, these sort of concrete, tiled, smelly stairs, trash and piss at the bottom of them, through a gate into a door with the numbers. It used to be there. You can tell where the faded area is. He knows where it is, but you wouldn't be able to find it by number. Or opens the door with the keys. What do they see in your apartment?
It's a skinny hall leading down that breaks off into like a living room kind of studio, where a very dirtily stained mattress lays upon the ground with some, really tattered old justice stained sheets crumpled up on them. The kitchen is off to the left. Well, what is kind of a kitchen? It's like really thin room with a little sink and a single burner, and my toaster in there. And
is it
small
clean?
Fridge.
Is it clean? Are you a tidy housekeeper?
No. The roaches keep it pretty clean. They take care of the crumbs I leave. Yeah, we're close friends. They're my roommates. But in the restroom, next to the toilet paper, well, what's left of the roll toilet paper, which has been dropped in the water a few times, there's a pile of like semi-clean, old socks and rags and stuff that have been used to clean something, but they're half clean.
Nice. So you move off to the. Yeah, of course, Frank, your memories of home are different, but this is certainly, to both you and Randall, this is a step up. The barred windows, the flashing light across the street that you can't see from your vantage point must drive him crazy. It's a pawn shop. Flashing light. First thing that comes to mind there is that might be useful later. He comes out with these stained rags. You ragged A-bomb over and kind of lay him on the bed. He's alive and okay. You may observe the situation. Roll. Just Frank.
Sorry, I have my character sheet open in a different window, and so I have to toggle between the two windows.
Bing!
There you go.
So, tell me, as you're tending to A-bomb, some of the things that you would be mindful of. 2 questions.
2 questions. Okay. As I'm looking over his body and looking, lifting up his shirt, checking his ribs for bruising, any puncture wounds, anything like that. I'm trying to piece together in my head what kind of a weapon was used for this assault. Was he stabbed with a small pocket knife? Was he kicked with a steel-toed boot? Was he hit with a bat? What am I seeing?
Yeah. So you look him over and you come up with a very complicated answer to that question. It wasn't just one assault. There are some bruises that are all but gone. Mind you, he's been gone a bit now, right? It's been a long time since Ozzy was killed. But it does seem as if he was bludgeoned most recently with something of like a bat or maybe a pipe. He's got some very clear chipping in some of the bones of his face. You'll note that the sort of bloody bruises and some masses of swelling underneath there. But the thing that jumps out at you is the wound on the back of his neck. It's a horrific burn to the bone, nearly circular in shape. Incredibly familiar. Please give me a keep it together roll. So keep it together, guys, is used when you experience something that's emotionally intense for your character for one reason or another.
So I'm looking him over, I'm checking for wounds, and then I just see this and I sort of freeze as I see this burn mark on the back of his neck. Any modifier?
No, it's just flat. You use willpower, but if you're using the button on the character sheet, it should be okay. Wow. So you get a chill that starts at the base of your skull and goes all the way down your spine. And you tense up, and your companions absolutely pick up on it. But you continue. What do you do?
I'm very much concerned for my friend, but seeing that makes me angry, not for him, but because of what it means to me. And so my fingers sort of trace very lightly over it to almost to check, is this thing real? Am I seeing what I'm seeing in this dimly lit apartment?
Yeah. Just
and then I try
wondering if you're going crazy and reliving something, right?
Right, exactly. I've been out in the cold a very long time, and I've been hungry for a while. And my friend, I mean, there's so much happening right now. I don't know if I can trust what's even going on here.
So you extend your fingers and you go to trace the shape of the wound, and as you do so, he winces in pain. Everyone knows burns are incredibly painful, and this one is fairly recent. The rest of the beatings have been days at least. This was maybe within the last 24 hours. Randall, you and Constantine, well, Constantine at this point is getting, sort of wet rags, and he's got a bottle of vodka that he's brought over, and he's drinking half of it. And Randall, what are you doing standing over Frank's shoulder? You absolutely see what's going on here. How do you react to that?
Yeah, this is pretty familiar, man. I mean, I'm not going to bring it up here, but Frank's talked to me about some things. Not exposing anything from whatever he fucking went through, but I can see that he's dealing with a lot right now. Like something triggered him, and that's bothersome to me because normally Frank's pretty. I mean, he has a rage issue, but he doesn't freeze.
What do you think of these burns? So as you look and you see, obviously, when he traces his fingers around it, right, it calls your attention to it. What you see is almost a not perfect because it's burned skin, right? But it's a circle and this very ornate and almost just kind of incomprehensible symbol of scar and blister and pus from the injury. It's clearly a brand of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that? How do you react to that?
In my own curiosity, in my own digging, I wouldn't say I'm an academic by any means, but this looks like something ritualistic, something that I'm familiar with. It bothers me a lot. I'm going to try not to show that, but I just want to ask A-Bomb questions, man. I need to talk to him. Is he unconscious? Did he pass out? I mean, he just whimpered.
He whimpered in pain, and it's not entirely clear what his situation is in terms of prognosis, right? He's beaten to the point where his face is very swollen. It's probably difficult to talk, and he's in and out of consciousness, but his breathing is okay. You've definitely seen worse on the streets. So right about now, Constantine, you kind of come walking up, and the two of them are looking very, very closely at some injury, and almost immediately as you walk up, A-Bomb sort of shifts to a point where it's not visible to you. You've got your vodka, you've got your rags. What do you guys do to sort that out?
You guys want some? I hold out the vodka. Oh, yeah, and this is for him. Hold out the rags.
I thought Frank was going to ask another question. What's going on?
Yeah, so I very deliberately and not aggressively but sternly pull the rags from the priest's hands, not disrespectfully, but you could tell I'm bothered with the alcohol. I don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah.
And as I've got it, I start to tear off strips, and I'm bandaging small areas as I can. And as I'm doing this, I'm looking over A-Bomb and sort of asking him with no expectation that he's going to respond. What happened to you, man? Where have you been? What happened? Who did this to you?
Almost as if on cue, you say that, and his eyes kind of snap open. His pupils are huge, and his head just sort of snaps around as if he was just like, just kind of blew a whistle to catch his attention. Frank, it was the ones. Do was the one they got Ozzy. Did you see what they did to Ozzy? And the blood. It was everywhere. Frank, he kind of reaches up and pulls you closer. They're using us, Frank. And he winces as if something inside of him is just twisting, and his back arches and pops, and he kind of relaxes just a little, still breathing, but panting. Constantine, he's looking right at you, and this just disturbs the shit out of you. What do you guys do with that? What happens on the heels of that reaction?
As soon as his shoulders pop and he starts going into this, my hands come up.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of this. And I'm staring blankly for several seconds, trying to process, these are the same ones that got Ozzy. They're using us. What the hell does that supposed to mean? What just happened? What is this? What is that look on his face? I'm just sort of taking a moment and taking it in.
Okay.
I will hold out my cross and shakily go, "Be gone from this creature of God. Be gone in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit."
So you say your prayer, and you aim your cross. I'm going to allow you to roll to see through the illusion. So see through the illusion is sort of like being able to see through the Matrix. So with that result, basically you see through the reality, but you also affect the illusion. You get to choose one of two outcomes. And I'm going to choose this one. So you're saying, "Be gone," and you're saying your prayer, and you're kind of, you're obviously not equipped for a full exorcism. But almost radiating from your cross, right? There are ripples of just this like weird disturbance in the air. And everything suddenly, inclusive of Frank and Randall, starts to waver and vibrate and buzz, just zzz in your head as you're holding, and you feel it's almost holy power, and then something tears for just a split second, and there's kind of a as you see A-Bomb's face twitch. It's not A-Bomb. There is something else in your bed. It's horrific. It's unspeakable. And then just as quickly as it came, it's gone. Your friends are looking over their shoulders at you as you're holding out your cross. What do?
There's a demon within him. He needs to be there needs to be an exorcism.
Frank.
So as you say that, do you reach for him or go to touch him, or do you take a step closer to him at all, or are you just yelling that from the couch?
No, I'm not yelling it. I'm just stating it boldly with my cross out. I see a demon within him.
You don't know what just happened. He's chanting his stuff, and he's laying there, moaning as he had been. He's panting, breathing. That is disturbing. Lungs are injured.
I still haven't and won't be touching Avon, but as I hear that from Constantine, I look up to him and very, very directly and seriously, I say, "Don't you touch him."
What are you doing, Randall? So you see Frank. Frank's all business, right? So he turns and he's very determined, serious, jaws tight. Constantine very convinced of whatever it was that he saw. And you hear the soundtrack of the situation is the radiator and this sort of buzzing refrigerator, this ugly, terrible situation in the kitchen. And
this doesn't freak me out, man. I've seen shit like this before. This isn't strange to me. This is what I see normally, typically. I do have a question off on as an aside from a game mechanic standpoint.
yes.
If you don't mind. noting that one of my traits is unwilling medium. If this is supernatural, does that mean I get some sort of a screw up? Or are we gonna let it ride?
It can mean that, but it doesn't necessarily always mean that.
Okay. Okay, I just didn't.
Yeah, you're not just always gonna siphon all the
seizure.
Yeah, you're not gonna siphon all the evil through your butthole every time. I said,
okay, cool.
Live stream. That was fantastic. Cool. So, what do you do? Is my question. It's the wine.
I want the priest to back up, man. That's one of my best friends. The priest needs to go away. He needs to step back and let me talk to my friend.
Okay.
Because my friend's there regardless. We all got our issues, man. I want to talk to him. I want to see what's going on.
You step up and you assert that. Constantine, how do you react?
I will use my charismatic aura so that he entrusts me that I know what I'm doing.
So you're gonna try to sort of influence. Is that what you're gonna do? You're gonna try to. Typically, you don't aim your shit at other people, but your friends. But you can influence.
We both have a -2 in violence. You want to play this game?
You can.
I'm fanatical in this, and I cannot stop because I see a demon within possessing this person. So I have to do whatever it takes to exorcise this demon.
So you can roll to influence other if you want. That's fine. Let's see how well he does.
Yeah, he's gonna miss.
Yeah.
You roll your little die, priest.
Oh.
You know what? He seems all right.
Yeah. So. Just so I'm using this just for the purpose I'm not going to force any reaction, but what I will tell you is that based on his role, he's just as convinced as Frank is, and it's weirding you the fuck out because, like you said, you have seen things like this before. So how do you react? It is totally up to you. Among players, I wouldn't use the die mechanic against you, but how does Randall react to that? They're both believable. Maybe you're the problem, just like your dad.
Maybe. That's entirely possible, man. It's entirely possible. I'll tell you what. I'm going to let more sober heads prevail. I'm going to back up and I'm going to take a dose because maybe I'm just seeing shit. Who knows? So you guys do your thing. I'm going to go to the bathroom, take a bump. You guys have fun.
Yeah, so you
fuck it. Let the priest molest him, whatever the hell you guys do.
So he mumbling disparagements under his voice or under his breath. Randall heads off to the bathroom.
Watch your cornhole, A-bomb.
Did diffuse the situation a little bit. How does this play out? And again, beeping of some horns and traffic and whatever out there.
Yeah, that was really real. Right now, I just need to figure out what's going on. So nobody move, nobody touch anything until we figure out what this is. And I look down at A-bomb. A-bomb, are you all right, man?
Turn and look back at him. Almost kind of silly to say. You realize the silliness of your question when you ask, and you just see how beat up he is. He will heal. One of his eyes is open, staring right at the priest. The other one opens and responds to you, right? As you say, "Are you okay, man?" And it shudders open. The other one is staring at the priest. The other one's looking at you. Completely independent. Frank, I'm gonna be okay, man. I want to go to the beach, okay? I want to go to Florida. I wish I could tell you how sorry I am, Frank. Right? It wasn't their fault, Frank. They're not the ones that you should be sad about. But I saw them. I did. I saw what they took from them, too. And I can't unsee it. So I don't give a fuck. You take me to the hospital and you save my life. I'm going to be like Randall. I'm not going to be able to unsee it, Frank. The entire time his face is contorting and his eyes are moving around, but the one eye is staring right at the priest. This is somewhat unnerving, and I'm going to ask you to keep it together. Ooh, not so good. So what happens when you...
I'm pretty shaken.
Yeah. So what happens when you fail a keep it together roll? So with a roll like that... yeah, no. So basically, the strain of this situation is just way too much for your mind to handle. You start to panic. You absolutely start to panic. You're not sure that this situation isn't following you. You don't know what to do, but you don't think you can help here. Not right now, but you know you need to. Constantine, you notice he begins to breathe almost in unison with A-bomb. And is starting to wringing his hands together.
The demon is possessing others.
Oh, shit.
Oh, no.
No, you're like, no, I'll be fine. So you're off in the bathroom, of course. Get to that in a second.
I'm going to try to calm Frank without approaching him.
You can
by speaking soothing words.
Yeah, you can use your. How does that ability work? By the way, I didn't. What's it?
Which one?
What was it they have? You have enhanced awareness. What else do you have?
Charismatic aura.
Charismatic aura. So basically, you radiate an aura that makes people trust you and seek your company, which is hilarious considering the way this guy's fucked up in the head. But yeah, so you can go ahead and roll your charismatic aura if you'd like, plus soul. But you can also just try to influence others. See if you can kind of bring them back to a happy place.
So what is a charismatic? How do you roll a charismatic aura?
So what you would do is roll plus soul. So you roll your 2d10 and then add your soul to it. Influence other. I'm going to say though, influence other is probably a better one here.
Okay.
Because he's not even paying. You know, you're not going to just sort of influence him without trying. So see if you can talk him off the ledge. 9. So. Your attempt has unintended repercussions. So you step forward, Frank. This guy gets in your face. You're losing your shit, and he's trying to talk you down, and you get it, but you are just going crazy. What do you do?
So as A-bomb is just unloading on me, right? You shouldn't be sad for them. They're not the ones you should be sad about. I've seen what they've taken for them. They, with what I've just seen on his neck, everything just starts, the words start to echo and everything starts to go foggy, and I'm losing my breath and I can hardly speak, and my vision goes blurry, and I sort of take a step back, and I'm just trying to figure out what the fuck, what does he mean they? How does he know they? And as I'm trying to sort out what the fuck is this happening, what is going on here, I suddenly realize that the preacher is mumbling something, and he's real close, and his hand is on my shoulder, and he's saying something, and I shove him. Get the fuck off of me, man.
Okay, you shove him. So Constantine, he shoves you across the room. He doesn't belt you or anything, but he sends you just railing, leaning into it, and he's clearly not talking in a demonic voice, but disturbed. Switching over for a moment to Randall. So Randall, you're enjoying your drugs in the bathroom.
In theory, man.
Yes.
You know what happens when I see fucking reflective surfaces, man. It's horrible. There's a big fucking mirror in there. It's nowhere near as dirty as the rest of your apartment, so that was garbage. I'm not going in there again.
Yeah.
No, seriously, you don't know what you don't know, man.
So
So I hear raised voices. Can I come barreling out and tell them to fucking stop?
I'd like to tell you what you see in the mirror.
Yes.
So you go in.
Here's your cue.
And you're sort of in that situation. You're in that moment, right, where you're just absolutely you need to get high. This is too much. So you step into the bathroom and you shut the door before you even turn on the light. Reach over and you flip the light switch so that you can see what you're doing, you know, kind of get your paraphernalia out and start to mix up a batch of whatever the hell it is that you're going to do. And as soon as the light comes on, you glance up, standing right over your shoulder. It's her. And she says, shh. And you about lose your shit. Give me a keep it together roll, please. I want to have you guys all having a panic attack. You just run around and just pop Wellbutrin together.
Do I have any modifiers or no?
No, you can. This is not unusual.
Oh,
yeah.
No. A lot of low rolls.
That's gonna suck because I'm broken.
So, as you look up and you see her yet again, you panic. There's a sound of breaking glass in the distance, and right about when this conflict is going back and forth, Constantine, you get shoved backwards. You hear something break in the bathroom, and it really kind of serves to, you glance over like, oh shit, somebody's breaking my stuff. Like, let's just play out. Randall, do you come blasting out of the bathroom? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, I think I would just come barreling out of the thing, sort of stumbling, you know, not really understanding how the door works. At that point, I've smashed a mirror. There's just shards everywhere. My hands are bloody. I'm upset. And I come out almost in embarrassment out of my own fuck up in there. And I turn around and I see the two people who are supposed to be keeping their shit together not. Jesus. Okay. It's probably not the right time, but can I like try to see through the illusion on the dude? If I run up and I'm like, I'm tired of this shit. Something's going on here bigger than all of us. Let me see him.
So usually seeing through the illusion is not always the best thing, but given the circumstances, I will allow you to do that.
Screwed myself.
It's usually when you suffer shock or injuries or whatever. Distorted perception through drugs or rituals, but you know, you did just.
Yeah.
So let's have a roll.
Smells like insight.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Call me now for your free reading.
So you walk. So you break through the bathroom door. You take 2 steps in regular time, and then suddenly everything slows down. You see Constantine stumbling backward, still kind of pointing at A-bomb. You see Frank, arms extended, having just pushed him. Sitting up with perfect posture, staring right at you, is A-bomb. You've never seen A-bomb this way. Know it's him because you can kind of, his clothes are the same, but he's got this very determined, very assertive look on his face as he sits there. Things are moving slowly. The ceiling fan is just creeping around. Hello, Randy, he says. His teeth are black. See you. See right. And then you're back, and he backs into his shit. There's moments of sort of chaos, and everyone's looking at everyone else. Randall stumbles out of the bathroom after breaking something and stares over at A-bomb. What do you guys do? Frank?
So
he's away from you.
Yeah, he's away, and I hear a commotion, a breaking, the door open, 220 pounds of Randall sort of like falling into the living room, and it sort of snaps me out of my head, and I look over at him, and I don't really say anything. I'm trying to like figure out what the hell is that? What's going on? Is this danger? What is this?
What does he see when he looks over at you, Randall? So you're looking at the bed, right, where Abom was sitting up and staring you down, and he said something to you, and now he's lying back down, and Frank's looking at you like, what's your reaction like?
There's a look of shock on my face that I'm trying to sort of cover up. I came out sure about what I had to do, and now I really don't know. I'm frozen. I sort of teeter a bit, but I'm confident knowing that I just saw Frank move out of his position. He stopped the violence, whatever's going on. No idea what Constantine's doing because I can't peel my eyes off of Abom. I know he's laying down again, but I can't forget what I've seen.
Yeah, Constantine. So you just kind of backed into the side table there that's in your in your flat. You see all of this kind of, you're obviously just been sort of assaulted. You sort of get it at some level. You're not completely batshit crazy, but what do you do?
I must speak to the demon. Demon, speak to me. I will attempt, if allow me to use enhanced awareness to speak to the entity.
You can. I don't know if you can. I'm going to read because this is not Warhammer Fantasy, but I'm going to find out. What does enhanced awareness allow you to do, CJ? Tell me. Tell all of us.
In a location where the illusion is weak, I can roll plus soul and have visions about the place and be able to speak to entities tied to it.
Okay. Got it.
I'm attempting that on Abel, or whatever his name is.
Let's do it.
Abom priest.
A-ball. I'll attempt that on.
It's 2d10 plus soul, right?
Yeah. So the priest steps forward. This is where things get real. It's almost as if he stands taller than he might have. Steps forward, and what do you say to Abom? What are you trying to achieve here? Constantine.
Oh, I thought you were talking.
Sorry. No, this is all you, man.
I hold out forth my cross, and I beckon the demon. Come. Face one that can challenge you. Speak to me and tell me your purpose here.
So, Frank, you're worried. Randall, you're worried. You're worried for a couple reasons at this point. This breathing. Speaking in perfect Italian, which you would recognize from your grandmother, Constantine Bianca, and then proceeds to say something that only you understand. Something that you remember your father used to say to you around Christmas time. It was a song. Starts to sing. You hear this, the both of you. Bambino. What do you do, Constantine? This bothers you. This bothers you a lot. But it's also what you're trained for, I suppose.
Do I recognize this as the demon speaking to me?
You recognize it as a homeless Chicagoan who couldn't possibly know Italian because he's, by the look of him, probably Irish or something. He's also speaking with the tone of voice of an old lady and laughing. He wasn't laughing before. There's no way something's wrong here. You've definitely gotten its attention. What do you do?
I am going to pull my little locket, it's an old vodka bottle that I stopped up, but there's holy water in here.
Now, let's just be honest. Is there truly holy water? How did it get in there? Because did you go and kind of steal it from the cistern or whatever that? Not cistern. That's not the word. Whatever that thing is.
It's not stealing. If I just found it sitting there and I just poured it into the bottle, I'm borrowing it for a good cause.
I got it. Okay, so
I drained the vodka first.
Understood.
It was an empty bottle.
You drained the vodka. You did your necessary Hail Marys to get past the drinking binge, and yeah, you you've got some holy water. So you've been waiting to, and it's a plastic screw top bottle too. It's like Popov vodka or something. So what do you do with this bottle? You pull it out, and by the way, Frank and Randall, what are you doing? Because this is really...
So the events that sort of transpired, and I hit my peak. I pushed the preacher, and as this is happening, Randall comes out, and I'm startled, right? And so my attention is broken. I'm trying to figure out what's going on over here. This is when the preacher takes this opportunity to, like, all right, I'm going to do it now, right?
Yep.
And I'm sort of watching what's happening, and I very immediately recognize A-Bomb doesn't know Italian, and that's terrifying. And so I give out a less committed don't, out of concern for my friend. But now I'm not so sure that not doing it is the right thing to do.
Don't?
Yeah, don't. What do you?
Don't.
Yes. What do you do? Okay, so Constantine, you hear this, but what do you do with your holy water, man?
I'm beginning the enaction of an exorcism.
So
I take the holy water. I do the old mother's thing where it like splashes.
Yeah. So the closest you can get, right? An exorcism, and you would know this, right? An exorcism takes a lot of preparation. But the first thing you got to do is validate, and holy water is a great way to do it. So you lash out with your holy water, and you're shouting your very insistent prayers at this dude, best you can tell. And it is in fact a dude until the water hits him. And then there's just a moment of peace. Splat, the water hits him. And then he sits up, but his bottom half does not. So picture lying in your bed on your side, because again, he's looking outward and just sitting straight up like that. You hear the pop of the spine as he sits up and stares at you with this really crooked grin on his face.
Ah, the priest brings water in the devil's liquid. Give us a kiss.
And it sticks its tongue out and this whole thing. What do? Do you make out with it or what?
Me? I continue to throw the water, and I command the others, hold him down. The power of Christ compels you. And I just start chanting, the power of Christ compels you.
I saw this movie like 10 years ago in 73.
He says.
Exactly.
Yes. He says. Perfect. So what do you guys do? So he calls, hey, hold him down. And this is just terrible. I mean, physically, it's not possible. He's sort of shaped like this, right? He's shaped like the L train. What do you do?
So, I mean, I've seen some shit. I've never seen this. And I think my mind starts to process that this is probably not A-Bomb anymore. This probably isn't my friend anymore. And so I freeze. I don't move. The words pass through my ears. I recognize that the Father has asked me to do something, but I can't bring myself to do anything about it in this moment.
That's fair. Heart beating like crazy. How about a roll to keep it together? And also, Randall, what do you do?
I'm gonna quickly spin my sleeves around my hand, and I'm gonna jump over there and try to hold suddenly right angle A-Bomb at more of a.
That's his new gang name.
A straight line.
Suddenly right angle.
Yeah, suddenly right angle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
He used to be acute, now he's just right.
So I'm going to ask you to roll for act under pressure, Randall. Let's see how this works out for you. And yours is 12. So yeah, you're able to your effort to resist basically instills a condition. So
Oh shit.
You can choose one. So you choose how this is going to. Oh fuck. All right, we'll talk about you in a second, man. So Frank, you get to choose one. So you become angry, which I don't understand what that means. I'm suddenly mad at the demon.
I'm always angry.
Yeah. You become sad, scared, guilt-ridden, or obsessed, or distracted. or you will be haunted by this experience at a later time. So those are your choices. What do you want to do?
I think the most appropriate solution here, the most appropriate reaction here is I'm a little sad. There's been a wave of emotions that have just hit me literally in the last 45 seconds to a minute with the conversation that was just had, the thoughts of my family, and now I'm watching my friend being contorted like some sort of weird voodoo doll. And so I think I'm sad.
Okay. Randall.
Yes.
There are serious consequences of this situation. So, as you
does Cult have a reroll mechanism?
Sadly not. No. So as you
Oh.
do you want to spend some fate points or some oh fuck points? No.
Yeah.
So you describe for me one more time. I'm sorry because I was focused on Frank there for a second. But you rush in. Your intent was to do what again?
Get distance. My intent was to try to hold him down, like I was told by the fucking priest. That I shouldn't have trusted.
Okay.
Down with my gut.
So
I have wrapped my hands up in my sleeves.
Okay.
So I didn't want to get any weird water thing on me that I thought was pee. And now I'm gonna get hurt because you guys are jerks.
You know. Okay. So
Right.
you move in with the intent of sleeves over your hands. Kind of run in and try to grab him by the shoulders and just lay him back down. Is that sort of your intent, or what? Like
yeah, it was.
It was. Okay. So you come in and you proceed to grab him by the shoulders, and you find suddenly it's kind of like moving a light post. He's immovable. You strain with all your might, and you're a junkie, but you're not that weak. You're lean, thanks to the heroin. He vomits all over you, just
oh god,
from unseen places. Just this incredible amount of vomit comes out.
Oh, the Linda Blair pea soup, man.
Yes, except without the peas, because he's not.
Oh, this is my only jacket.
This is my only bed.
You don't use it. You're up at 2:30. Don't play.
Fair point.
The lava becomes a fly. The lava becomes a fly. The lava becomes a fly.
And then he proceeds to stretch his neck out and bite you. Would you like to try to avoid harm? Dude,
yeah,
this is like
actually,
an 80s
I would like to
horror
roll
movie.
whatever the fuck I can do.
Yeah, let's
Holy, larva becomes a fly.
let's
Fuck you, priest. This is a shit idea. Hold the dude down.
let's have an avoid harm roll, please.
Oh my god. Good thing my reflexes are a solid 1. Hey, hot damn.
Part of it is having been soaked in vomit, right? You're on
slippery.
edge, and you. The good news is that physically and according to physics, actually, you're able to move more quickly. You let go and stumble backward, and avoid the worst of it, but you hear the clenching of this creature that once was your friend. You hear the clenching of its teeth snapping together as it lashes out and bites you, and you take your couple of steps back only to realize that his neck is at least a good twice as long as it was, and there's a rattling and cracking going as it continues to extend. At this point, you've got this contorted, horrific mutation of what once
Angry
was.
giraffe.
Yes, angry giraffe. Right angle giraffe. That's what this creature is in the creature manual.
It's a geometry giraffe.
People becomes
And there's like this guttural, like,
becomes a fly. The pupil.
it just repeats this. What do you guys do? So, Frank, at this point, you
I
were
leave.
kind of sad and frozen. You see this happen. Randall staggers back and puke kind of all over him. It reeks of stomach contents. Constantine, still chanting his prayer.
Priest.
I don't know. Um,
I'm going to say you. I should ask you for keep it together roll. You failed, and that's exactly how you respond. You're just mind blown.
yeah. What?
Constantine, what do you do?
I see that the one fell backwards. I see Frank kind of frozen. I will reach into my robe and pull out my father's Bible, the one with the deep gash in it.
Yep.
And I will chuck it at Randall and tell him, like, use this. Press this upon him.
Okay.
Trusty shit.
Trying to snap Frank. Trying to snap Frank out of his daze. As I continue to chant,
so
the power of Christ compels you.
He reaches over to this sort of side, actually, I guess you do probably carry that in your coat at all times. He kind of pulls this book out. You can only guess what it's all about. How do you react to this? Are you going to catch this thing, or is it going to smack you in the side of the head? Like, how?
Yeah, I'm not paying attention to that. I'm paying attention to my contorted friend on the bed here. And I feel the book sort of thump against my chest and hit my feet. And it does precisely do just that. It sort of wakes me up. And as a reaction, I sort of bend down to pick it up to try to follow through with the directions that are being yelled at me.
Yeah, you shake your head and you look down, and there's this curious Bible. Describe real quick once for the some will probably remember it from the character thing, but tell us about that Bible real quick, Constantine. What's it like?
It's a very old leather-bound Bible, normal size. What's unique about it is there's dark stains covering the outer leather, and a deep indentation about 2 inches across that cuts about halfway through the Bible in the center of it, like something was stabbed into it.
So you have this in your hand. What do you do with it?
So as the father sort of throws it to me, and I'm picking it up. Are you still yelling your command? I certainly didn't catch it the first time, but now you have my attention after the book has sort of hit me in the chest here. So I sort of like pick it up, and I'm looking to him for direction.
Yeah, so he looks back at you. Clearly he didn't get it, and you're like, here, take this, and hit him with it. He's got it now.
Press it upon him. The power of Christ compels you. Be gone, demon.
Do you have a bottle of vodka in the other hand? Or are you like, hey?
Okay. Yeah. So he's asking me to press the book upon him, and sort of like a renewed I snap into cop mode, right? Like the shakes are gone. This is duty mode now, right?
Fight or flight,
so
right?
There's a certain level of sort of courage and just like assertiveness that happens, and I take the book and I sort of hold it out at arm's length, and I start to approach this creature to the point where I'm actually laying the book physically upon him.
Okay, so you're walking up in this thing just chanting, the larva becomes a fly, the larva becomes a fly, and it stops just as you approach, and in its head is at this point a good, call it 4 or 5 vertebrae longer than it should be, or the neck, right? So its head is further away from the shoulders than it should be. You lean in and press this book upon it, and it's almost as if the physical injuries in some way become relevant to this thing at this time. As you press the book into it and push it backward, it starts to just howl in pain. Not localized pain where you're pressing the book, but more the angle that you're pressing it at. But it's not fighting you quite the way it did Randall. It is gurgling with its own sort of vomit that was still leaking out of its jowls as it was saying the larva becomes a fly, and it stops. And there's a sudden calm in its eyes. They will hunt you. All of them. And it snaps its own neck, its head back on the pillow.
More geometry.
Now it's more like a Z shape. It's a Z for our folks across the pond. Frank, you've got this Bible. You're not entirely certain that that's what did it. You do. You literally have just watched your friend snap his own neck, lying dead in front of you, motionless. Constantine, you're over his shoulder. You're pretty fucking certain it was the Bible. I mean, if you're doing the math of the situation, right? How do you guys react to that?
Would I know from my previous exorcisms that a dead body can still be possessed?
No. Nothing that you've ever encountered was anything beyond sort of the exorcisms that you typically see today. Nothing with physical manifestations quite like this. This is a first. It's almost like a renewed calling. It almost snaps you out of your crazy just a little. This is real. Something about it almost makes you wonder if some of the others weren't all in your head. This one was absolutely real.
Could I attempt to see through the illusion to see if the demon's still there?
Let you do that. Yeah, this is a fairly traumatic experience. Yeah, so let's see if you. So things are just as wrong as they've been with reality. The very thing that has cast you on this quest. You do know for a fact that what lies in your bed now is just an unfortunate consequence of a bad situation. But something is not right here. Something about what remains, something about Frank. You're looking at him and you almost feel a tug at your heart. There's something that endures with him. It's like something following him. And then Randall. Go watch Randall's character development video and you'll understand the impression you get from him, but there's something just not right about the situation. Other than that, you know, the reality doesn't fall apart or anything like that. The demon seems to be gone. The thing that you call the demon seems to be gone for the time being. Its last words, "You will be hunted." They will hunt you, I believe is what he said. All of them.
I put the little topper back on my holy water.
You don't drink it on accident?
No. I can't drink that one. It's special.
Yeah.
And I put my cross up.
You guys do. So as you're watching A-Bomb's body there, just in pose, clearly dead, an absolutely broken neck. He looks like the victim of violence. Frank, your police mind kicks in. There's a murder scene, for sure. For sure. But none of you are murderers. Your heart kind of starts to pick up as you understand, like you can't. No one can call the cops. Got to be a bond between you. Any one of you could blame the other. That would be easy enough. You might even get a hot meal out of it.
I blame the priest.
Technically, he did it. He told us to.
Yeah,
you go get the rotary phone and call the police station.
He's the origami fan over here. Didn't watch the damn movie. He was quoting.
You do ponder blaming the priest. Do you do though?
I look up and talking more to the priest, but saying it in such a way that I know Randall's paying attention, right? It's sort of it's to the room but directed at the priest.
Yep.
And it's, I need to figure out who did this. I need to figure out what happened, and I may need your help to do that.
Constantine, how do you respond?
I nod my head in agreement. I hold my hand out for my Bible. Yes, yes. That van. The van, yes. I noticed something odd about it. It was from a chemical company. And I'll describe to Frank what I noticed about the van.
Yeah, so you almost have a flashback. You couldn't see that side of the van that came and took your friend away and shot you. You know, the guys that shot your friend in the face before. Pearson Chemicals. You obviously don't have the internet, so you don't know anything about it. Clearly a chemical company of some kind. A white van, broken dome light, it's flickering. Unseemly types driving it. That's all you know for now. Now, I will point out that in the character Bond's video, we did agree that, Frank, you remembered a license plate.
I did. Yeah. I had a spot in my notes that said the license plate number, but
Shit, I don't remember.
It was blank. And I don't remember if you had given it to me and I just didn't write it down, or if I never actually got it.
Yeah, the license plate number was "I heart your mom." I don't know, something like. Okay. You remember whatever it was. It was it was it was a Chicago license plate. It was the only other thing is that the van itself had some tags on it, such you would expect to be given out to special cargo type vehicles. But yeah, so we have a lead of Pearson Chemicals. If only we had a car and some cash. Angela.
It's a pawn shop. We can drag A-bomb over there.
So I will ask, right? What there is a body, and it is clear as you've been looking at it, the trauma that's taken place here. It looks like you guys just had your way with the body with a bat or something like that for just a long time. Very swollen, blackened. Anyone finding this would assume that the priest killed him. What are you going to do?
So, in my years as a detective, can I lean on any of my past experience or recall any sort of knowledge that might help us more effectively get rid of the body?
Give me an idea how you think you would like to do that. There are certainly a variety of methods one could use.
Sure. I would think that out of respect for my friend, I don't want to hack him up into pieces and put him down the garbage disposal.
This is good.
I think leaving him intact is probably the best way to do so. But also, you know what? He may end up needing to be in a river or down a sewer drain or something if that's what it takes.
So there's an impressive amount of water around Chicago. The sad thing is you don't have a car. Did
we bring the bag with us?
I'm gonna guess probably not, but it's still where you left it, unless one of your buddies took it as a blanket.
I'm sure Constantine has a shitty carpet we can use.
Yeah, just cut the carpet up.
Yeah.
Lose your deposit.
It's covered in this sort of acrid vomit and such, and it's a rug there at the base of the bed. Kind of.
You're never gonna smell it anyway.
So yeah, you about the best that you can think of, Frank, would be to get the body as far away from your folks as you could. But once the cops start asking questions locally, they're gonna. It all comes back to you in the end because they watched you. Can't be found.
Chicago, idea.
What's that? Randall's like, I'll snort him.
Yeah. Is he mostly ash yet?
No.
I have street contacts. Can I make this one of those vague things where how do you get rid of a junkie sort of thing? I know he's got friends, and I'm friends with him.
That sounds like a great reality show, Randall. That hasn't become a thing yet. You may be a reality show pioneer.
Oh man, it's cold. Violence on the street isn't uncommon. He was a known user. One of my friends. Whereas
I will allow you. Yeah, I will allow you to make a influence and influence others roll. Let's see just how loyal, because you absolutely do. Yeah, man. It's how do you get rid of a junkie? The trouble is the shape that his frame is in right now.
Others.
Oh.
Yeah. I just mail them to the cemetery or something.
You you have a contact that owes you a favor, and you would hope to hang on to that for a while. But you think that he could, in some way that you'd rather not know, make sure no one finds A-Bomb's body. It might be something that would fall on the sort of wrong side of Frank's expectations, but at this point you don't have many options. If they find him, they will trace him back to you.
All right.
Is that what you do?
I don't think I can do it without the approval of at least Frank.
Okay. So what do you say? So you're thinking this through, and you get this sort of light bulb over your head.
Frank, man, I got a guy that owes me a favor. I can make this go away right now. It's not going to be something that treats A-Bomb with respect that I think he deserves, but you know what? Thanks to the priest fuckery, that wasn't A-Bomb in there anymore. So it's just a husk, man. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Don't blame us. Can we get rid of this shit now?
Yeah, you're right. We're not going to be able to avenge him in any way if we're sitting in jail. So do what you got to do.
All right, man, I'll make the call. Hold on.
But you
I'm going to have to leave to do that.
You walk over.
Write a letter.
Yeah, you walk over to the priest's where you would expect to find a phone, but there's because he's crazy. That's all he does. The great news is you do find a quarter, and a couple blocks up, there's a novel 80s concept called a payphone. So you, this is the phone that you do most of your dealing, your acquisition of drugs.
Yeah.
So
I know you wanted to do that, man. I have that little box that I keep on me that lets me simulate the little quarter sounds. That's all I need. I'll go do that.
Yeah, you make your phone call. The voice on the other side. This isn't just like a typical deal. You're gonna owe me one. You understand, Randy?
Yeah, I got you, man. Just make it happen. But treat him with respect. He's, you know what I mean.
Nobody's gonna find him. You gonna give me the address?
Give him the address.
You get that, by the way. The priest. So you're observing this. So priest, how are you feeling about the situation? Morally, are you okay with this? Are you letting it go? Like, what's your?
I'm kind of like inspired right now because in my eyes I just performed an exorcism, and everything I believed in has been proven true.
So you're like, I don't give a fuck what you do with the body. It's fine. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he was already dead. The demon was in him. So yeah.
You give him the priest's address. Make yourself scarce, unless you want to be disposed of along with him. I'll turn out all the lights when we're done. You owe me. You understand, Randy?
Yeah, I know. I know, man. Hey, Frank, he says you owe him.
So you conclude your phone call and take what at this point is quite a long walk back, right, from the payphone. Frank and Constantine are there, and being in the room with a corpse is never fun. And Frank, as you're sitting there, of course, kind of soaking it all in. Every time you look over, I mean, it's not a bomb. You're okay with that. But whatever it was is not human either. And the way that his head fell, you can make out that fucking tattoo, that fucking brand, the burn.
Do I see that mark now?
You do.
Is it reminiscent of the other mark I saw?
Refresh my memory.
On the thug that approached me, he had a mark on the back of his neck also.
Yes. In fact, well, yes, it's absolutely that, just newer.
So I'll point that out to Frank. The mark on your friend's neck is the same mark that those, what did they call them back then? Hoodlums? That those hoodlums had on the back of their necks in the van.
I've seen this before as well. I think that this may be cult related. And as he's talking to me, I'm doing my investigative thing, right? So I'm checking his pockets, scraps of paper, any sort of clues that may give me any information about where the hell was he all this time? Where did they keep him? Is there anything anywhere that I can find that might give me a clue?
How thoroughly do you search? So you check his pockets. You find some cigarette butts that he clearly scavenged, mostly smoked, right? Quite a collection of those. And a lighter, it's a Bic lighter. It's kind of an odd... Still got a little fuel in it. That's about it. He's got no money, no real drug paraphernalia. But how thoroughly do you search? I mean, because he's wearing clothes and all.
It's a bit hasty, a bit superficial. I'm obviously distracted with what's happened, and I'm now having a conversation, sort of, a half-hearted conversation with the preacher. But it's mostly light pat down, checking, maybe pockets in the top of his coat, or, down sort of by the waist, and then his pant pockets. I'm not digging through his socks or checking his, prison pocket or anything like that.
Okay. Prison pocket. That's the term of the day, ladies and gentlemen. That's fantastic. Not checking the BH. Got it. So you're kind of looking him over, looking pockets, and kind of just generally, it's got this sort of tattered shirt on, and beneath is just a white kind of undershirt. You notice it's really stained. It's really kind of bloody. Checked him over before, obviously, just where he's been. But there's a concentration right in the center of the chest. Calls your name as you're looking it over. Lift his shirt. And carved there is a very strange and familiar effigy. Strange, almost featureless figure. It's very familiar to one that you... This is a shocker to you. Do you care to share? Can I share with the stream what this figure's all about, or no? What the effigy? Why it's important? You want to wait?
Yeah. Well, I think Randall may recognize it. I've scrawled it on my notebook, little tattered pieces of papers here and there, just to remember what it looks like.
Tell us what it is. What is this thing? What is this thing that you see carved and very thin and very sharp?
So there's a small idol of this featureless man that I found working a case out here in the Greater Grand Crossing before everything sort of happened. There was a murder victim that I found, and I rolled up on the victim in this warehouse type building, and in the victim's hand was this figurine. I mean, it's no more than 5 or 6 inches long, probably 2 inches around. It's not very big. Sharp sort of shape, but nothing, no major features, right? And the victim, I remember when I pulled his slightly rigged fingers from the idol, the inside of his palm had indents and skin had been torn where he was clutching this thing so tightly before he had died. It was not related to the death of the victim, but it was very clear that this was important to him. And so I took close care to make sure that it was bagged and tagged properly. And after the investigation was wrapped up, I couldn't let it just sit in a box in the back of the sort of evidence lockup for the rest of my life until the building burned. And so, I pulled some strings and I took it home with me. And it sat on my mantle for a while. I kept it with me very close, and I don't know what it is about it, man. It's just something about the featureless face and the way it just, it doesn't stare at me because there's no eyes, but it's there and it's present, and I think about it a lot. And so, Randall's probably seen me scrawl this featureless face in my poor handwriting with the nubs of the chewed pencils that I have available to me in my notebook on whatever blank sheets of paper I could find left.
And you fill sheets with it, man.
Yeah.
So, Randall, of course, you wouldn't know the very specific history, but that was brilliant. So thank you for sharing that for the memorial there. But you definitely have seen this drawing before, which is troubling in a way, man, because you don't know where it comes from. And so to see that on a corpse, and here's this guy, you probably don't know the whole story behind his situation at all, right? That's what you find on the corpse. Of course, that there's an expectation that you will not be here when your friend arrives, because if you are, well, it won't matter what's gone wrong here because you'll all be corpses as well. He's one of those guys.
Here you go, man. Frank, Priest, come on. Let's get out of here, man. Get whatever shitty stuff you want from your stupid apartment. Let's get out of here. Your pictures of little boys or whatever. Let's go.
No. Not little boys. I'll grab my
grown boys. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, there's a difference. I'm gonna get my extra bottle of vodka under the kitchen sink.
Nice. You've got a handle down there, right? Yeah. You gather up some things, and you can feel free to tell me what makes sense for you to kind of put in a bag. Where do you go when you leave your apartment? Where do you? Again, if you just, and this is the one thing both of you would have noticed, Frank and Randall as well, is he has a window that looks right into the viaduct, right where you are. And you've probably at some time seen what you think is a figure standing in this very window without even knowing that this is exactly where the priest lives.
Do we have tissues and lotion around too? It's kind of weird, man.
Not near the window anymore. I moved him.
Okay.
Death coming over.
Literally impossible for me to not piss myself laughing with you saying shit like that. I'm trying to be scary. Anyway, he's watching you with his lotion and his whatever, his blood doll in the corner. But yeah, so where do you go? If you just leave, you just walk across the street. You'll be within within view of the window.
Typically, I know the streets. I know the streets very well. Working as a detective and investigating murders in this area, as a free citizen, and then of course living in the tattered hells of this part of the city as a homeless man. And that idol, staring at it carved into A-Bomb's chest. The one place that that's flashed in my mind is that abandoned warehouse where I found that original murder victim. And so I have an idea of where we can go and get away, get off the streets and kind of get away. And so I encourage these guys to follow me to the abandoned warehouse.
Awesome.
Talk about it for a second.
Do you agree, Randall? Or do you go to the Hojo down on the corner?
I actually want I actually want to see if I don't my PDF file keeps locking up, man, but I'm trying to see what my Wayfinder advantage is.
You said PDF file. Yes?
Yes.
I wasn't sure what you said. You got weird there for a second. What are you trying to sort
sorry.
It did sound weird.
I have the book here, and I'm trying to find what Wayfinder does as an advantage, just to see if I can add to his insight there. Unless the GM just thinks I should just roll with it.
I don't fucking know. Well, no, I think this is more trying to figure out a way to get there, a safe way to get through. I'm gonna say for now, probably more about just deciding whether or not he's described the place. You know it. This is your neighborhood.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I know how to get there. I trust that it's what else are we gonna do? The only thing we need to do is not be at this building right now.
Literally.
So, yeah.
As you're standing there talking, out of the corner of your eye, Randall, you see lights pull up in front. It's a black BMW, something along those lines, very shiny. The lights turn off. They're here. What do you do?
Everyone get out now. If you don't get out now, you're going to be with A-Bomb. On my way, running out the fucking door, I try to grab, does Constantine have like a knife block or anything where I can steal a little blade at the top of my pocket?
I don't know. Constantine, do you have an obvious cutlery block in your apartment that barely even has toilet paper? I mean, you are Italian, right? So maybe you do.
I have a cheese knife on my counter.
All right, never mind. I don't take anything. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if you mean it, you could really mess someone up with a cheese knife, and it just takes some time.
It's pretty sharp.
Yeah. No, so you abandon the building, yes?
Yes.
So scampering out as you are, and trying to look sort of discreet. It by this time is getting fairly close to dawn. As you're walking down the shitty stairs, there is a figure walking up the shitty stairs. Briefcase, very well dressed, very nice coat, and a fedora of all things. Looks down, doesn't make eye contact whatsoever, but the self-assured walk just says, try it. There's a awkward situation where you have to get past this person. You do. Step out into the now kind of brisk morning. You're out. There's another person in the BMW. You can't make out the face or the form much other than to say there's a presence there. And you head toward the warehouse. And this, in fact, is where we will conclude our first episode of Kult Divinity Lost Beneath These Streets. What do you guys think? We did it. Finally.
This is awesome.
Yeah?
Well done, guys.
Yes, very well.
CJ, you really made me hate you. Good job. I got puke all over my stuff.
Nailed that, right? Fucking throwing books at me.
It's like my old DM days. Get everyone to hate me.
Yep.
So again, if anybody sees this out there on the interwebs, whether it's in the stream or if it is in the YouTube, we are now recruiting an actor or actress who will handle the Angela Chase role. We need Angela Chase desperately by next episode. So worst comes to worst, I'll assign it to one of these guys, and I'll just copy the view of their camera and put it there, and Mike can throw on a wig when he goes to do her voice.
Yeah, no, I'll do like the half makeup. I'll shave half my face. It'll be fantastic. I'll just do one of these numbers.
Yes.
I could crop it just there. So that's very, very cool. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. I know it's a weird night, but this was a lot of fun. So I'm going to go around the horn. Mike, Frank Quinn, are you having a good time? You love it?
I'm having a fantastic time. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Got kind of lost in it. Randall, Steve Nedley, what are you doing, man?
You have made something that was initially very overwhelming, very fun. So I really appreciate you and everyone's participation.
I like to point out for the internet as well, the demon possessed painting that's behind Steve is so good. It's just pulsing and it's like, yeah, so good. CJ, Constantine, Father CJ, how are you feeling, man? You good?
I liked it. It was really good. Yeah, it was fun.
You gonna do it again?
Yeah. I like performing exorcisms and getting Steve puked on.
We got to do it at least a few more times because there's some story to come. Awesome. So this has been Myth Brigade, Kult Divinity Lost Beneath These Streets. We are going to end the stream awkwardly, right?